The COVID pandemic hasn't been very kind to our economy, but this isn't for Uganda alone. Globally, the global economy has been hit very, very hard. But for a country like Uganda, the challenge is that our economy wasn't doing very well anyway before the pandemic struck. Our economy was a bit weak, and we can be able to gauge whether the economy was weak or strong, because there are people who say no, our economy was strong, our GDP was 4% or 6%. But we want to look at the real economy, the production, what we are producing, what we are exporting. Uganda have been running a trade deficit for a very long time, meaning that we are importing more than we are exporting. Because we are exporting raw materials, we are still exporting coffee, vegetables, maize, yet we are importing all these gadgets. So our economy has been weak. Unemployment has been high because we don't have so many industries to employ the young people. So our economy was weak, and the pandemic came in and it has really hit very, very hard. In order to take advantage of the regional market, government need to put money in agriculture, but also in trade, because these are what we call the productive sectors. For example, during this COVID era, Uganda, we needed maize and beans, but so is Kenya. Kenya needed maize, but Kenya needs maize throughout the year because that's their staple food. Tanzania also needs food. Zambia and Zimbabwe, they have just one season, one planting season, and most often that season is, they have a very high drought levels, So as a country, we need to see those comparative and competitive advantages which we have in a region. But if you come out as a budget and you give agriculture was given, is it 2 or it's less than 3% of the whole budget? For me, I don't understand that. Then you give Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative, and you give it 0.3%. And then here we are talking about regional trade. We are talking about industrialization, and the key ministry, you are giving it 0.3%, and this is what I was talking about, walking that talk. I don't see that. We have a case in the East African Court of Justice. We took the Rwanda government and the Uganda government to court for what they did, closing the border arbitrarily. So even before COVID, there were such challenges in the regional market. We had challenges with Kenya. Remember that the milk was telling us our milk is, had challenges. So we need, even during the this COVID pandemic, we need to discuss as a region, especially as East African region, how we can be able to revive the regional trade. Because especially for a country like Uganda, but even for Kenya, this is where we have a competitive and comparative advantage. For example, you can't sell plastics to Europe, but we can sell plastics to Rwanda, to Congo, to Sudan. You can't take maize to Europe, but the region wants food. So as a country, we need to position ourselves to be able to take advantage of the regional market. But so And I think we need also to understand when we are embarking on this issue of saying we want import substitution, what went wrong? Why did we veer off that path of talking about competitive advantage? Because, you know, people told us, no, you are not competitive in industry. You are competitive in producing agricultural products. Import cheaply, cheap shirts, you'll be okay. So that's why we went into liberalization. We opened up our economy. Very, very, you know, like people say, like college gates. You know, in Uganda, like you can see anything comes in, you know. Unlike other countries, we opened our economy. We privatized. In fact, today we are talking about private sector led, with a very weak private sector. We were also told the government get out of development, just level the ground, put policies in place. So when you look at that package of policies, our industries just went down, not shh, but shh, you know. So, and if we are talking about reviving the industries, we need to address those policies. But I'm happy that government is really, this time, is talking about import substitution industries. But maybe, you know, it's one thing to talk, but also to walk that talk. You can be able to say, I want to build a house. And everybody say, and you talk about it, but you need to put actions to that. And actions for government, actions are in 3 ways. You look at the budget, you put money towards that. You look at the taxes, but you also look at the policy frameworks. So all those 3 have to talk to each other. And maybe we can talk about that, whether the budget and the tax and the policy frameworks are talking to that path to industrialization. Okay, the issue of the debt burden is an issue on the table. But you know, borrowing is not bad per se, you know, because in fact somebody can, if you are not borrowing in a business, you are not viable, by the way, you know. But so borrowing is not an issue as long as you can be able to pay back, you know. There are a number of economists who are telling us that our debt burden is not very big. It's manageable because we haven't reached 50% of GDP. But for us as civil society and for us as SEATINI, the debt burden is worrying. Because if your debt burden, you are repaying interest, and it's the 3rd highest item on your budget, you know, that's a challenge. Today we are our interest repayment, when you look at the budget, it's 8.98%, almost 9%, you know. Yet when you look at our budget to agriculture, to trade, to health, to education, is below. In fact, above debt repayment, interest repayment, there is only security and infrastructure. For me, that's worrying.